Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a video review. And for this review, we're going to be taking a look at the Nintendo eShop release of Streets of Rage 4 for the Nintendo Switch. Game is also available on the PS4, the Xbox One, PC via Steam, and I believe you can also play it through the NVIDIA GeForce Now. And if you're interested in any gameplay footage or anything like that, I'll have a link down in the description down below and you can check that out. Now, growing up back in the 80s and the 90s though, one of the genres that I remember playing, that I remember a lot of video games I've played though, are the beat 'em up or the brawler type of games, to be exact. There were plenty of those that existed back in the day, from the ones from like companies like Capcom, Konami, and SNK as well. I mean, games like Double Dragon, Final Fight, to even ones based off a license like the classic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtle in Time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, the Simpsons arcade game, which many view as one of the best Simpsons game out there. So there were many different kind of brawlers out there though. However, the genre kind of died out by, I believe, probably around near the end of the mid 90s, going into the year to the 2000s and all that stuff. It sort of like died out and all that stuff. It's tried to resurrect around like 2005, 2006 with games like The Warriors, Beatdown, Fist of Vengeance, Final Fight Street Rise, I think Urban Legends, or Urban Legend, I think that's the name. I apologize if I get that name wrong. And while some of them turned out to be good, such as say like The Warriors though, which is from Rockstar, which was based off, I believe, a 1970, I think it was either 1978 or 1979 movie, based off the movie The Warriors though, which for a movie tie-in game, it was pretty good though. And even God Hand was also good. While those two were good, it didn't really do as well as many people would. The genre didn't really make the big splash or a big comeback though. I mean, Beatdown, Fist of Vengeance was just terrible. Final Fight Street Rise, better than Beatdown, Fist of Vengeance, but still not as good as a lot of people had hoped for. So it was sort of interesting to hear last year when we learned that a new entry into the Streets of Rage series was in development. That was Streets of Rage 4, another entry in the long beat 'em up series from Sega though, back during the Sega Genesis days though. So it was sort of interesting to hear that though, and I was kind of surprised when I saw the trailer and all that stuff, and I was very curious to see how that game will hold up even today though. And after playing it though, after basically finally beating the story mode though, I honestly have to say that it definitely scratches that old school feel and vibe to it though, but it might not be for everyone at the same time. So why don't we get started with the pros and cons, and we'll start off first with the pros, and that is the music and the visuals. One of the complaints people had with Streets of Rage 4 when it was originally announced was like, the visuals didn't really click with everybody, and for some they viewed it as sort of controversial. I honestly think it looks good. I really like the look to the game and all that stuff. I mean, it almost kind of comes off a little bit as something that Way Forward would do and all. And a lot of the character models are mostly based off around the character models similar to what you saw in Streets of Rage 2 and 3. There are some exceptions. There are some new enemies in here, and some characters, like some of the female ones, are sort of more based off Streets of Rage 1, especially the ones with the rip though. But from the visual standpoint, it definitely looks nice. I like the hand-drawing look to it. And the music, oh yeah, definitely. This is definitely good. One of the things that people liked about Streets of Rage 1 and 2 was the music. And dear God, the music was really, really good. The first and second one, the music was really well done. The third, I think it's the weakest one though. There are some tracks that I like that are good, but not as good as the first and second one. And I will say that while the music may not reach the level as what the first and second one it does, it's really, really close. And I will have to say I really like the music in this game though. So it's, again, doesn't overtake 1 and 2, but gets really close, and it's definitely better than Streets of Rage 3 music. So visually and music wise, it's really, 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 really good. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the gameplay. And the gameplay pretty much is basically plays like what you would if you play one of the 90s brawlers at that point, though. You do have your special moves, you do have your basic, you know, your punch, your attack, your jump, and so forth. So from a gameplay perspective, it doesn't really change much. If you played any of the other Streets of Rage games in the past, you'll just feel right at home with this. There are some couple things that they do, like the star thing that actually does your special move, and you also have the ability. They also have the other special move that takes a bit of your energy bar, but with an interesting catch. Now there's a little green part of it every time you use that special move. When you attack certain enemies, you can refill health that you may have lost. However, if you get hit, though, you'll lose that part of the health. So it's kind of a what's that word again? Shoot. I mean, it's kind of like a it definitely is like the trade-off is you'll get your energy back, but if you're not careful, you could lose all your energy and all that stuff, or your health to be exact. So there are some new stuff that they've thrown into it, but for the most part, it follows the tired, true beat-em-up brawler type of a gameplay and all. And last but not least is that, obviously with this one though, you could finally play this game offline or online to be exact. Now I haven't tried the online yet or anything like that, but it is nice that they added online features, especially with the Switch version, where I could just play this even if I'm in a place with no internet connection. I could still hop in and play it, you know, with like, you know, local co-op and all of that stuff. Plus, I mean, I like some of the hidden goodies that they added in the game as well, including, you know, arcade mode, which is one continue. If you die, that's it. Boss rush mode. The ability to play any of the old sprites from the original Streets of Rage 1 and 2 or 3, which is sort of nice. But in either case, as far as the fact is that you could enjoy this game offline or online as well. So that certainly is a nice thing. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 2, which is the cons. And there's really only one con I could think of. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video review of Streets of Rage 4. So now that I gave you the pros, I'm going to go straight to the cons. And honestly, I could really only think of one con as far as this go, and that is basically this game might be a bit repetitive or too old school for some folks out there. Now, I've played many different kinds of beat-em-ups though, and while I will admit the game can be repetitive, I never found them to be boring or anything like that. That said, though, for some people it might be. I mean, some people might find the game a little too old school, since it seems to be more aimed towards those who grew up in the 80s and the 90s, especially with the gameplay and so forth. Some might find it a little bit difficult. Some people might find it to be a bit repetitive, you know, a bit boring, since some might see it as you're beating up the same enemies over and over again. For me, though, honestly, I don't really have an issue with that. I really don't have a problem with the repetitiveness in Streets of Rage 4, having played many different beat-em-ups before. But there are those out there that it may not click for some people, especially many might find this maybe a little too old school, as this one sort of, like I said, this one is sort of aimed more towards, you know, those, like I said, those who grew up like in the 80s and 90s with these kinds of games and so forth. Like I said, personally, I'm not bothered with it. I think I don't mind the repetitiveness. It's the kind of, I like these kind of games, but I can understand why it might be repetitive to some people, or some people might find it a little bit too old school to be exact. Overall, I will say Streets of Rage 4 is a blast. The game definitely has that old school vibe and feel to it, though. It's nice to see this series make a comeback. I love the visuals. The music is good. Like I said, maybe not as good as Streets of Rage 1 or 2, but still as close as it's going to be. The gameplay is still awesome. You get that 90s and 80s vibe to it, which certainly to me, that is definitely a plus. Yes, it is going to be repetitive to some people. Yes, it is old school. For some, they may like it. Some may not, though. I personally don't have a problem with it. But if you grew up playing these type of games and you like the beat 'em up genres, though, or you know, the brawler type, then Streets of Rage 4 is definitely worth getting. As far as which system to get it on, honestly though, it really depends on what your main system of choice is though. To me though, I consider myself a Nintendo fan. That's why I got this one on the Nintendo Switch. Plus, I like the whole portability aspect, though. But if PS4 is your main system, go with that one. If Xbox One is your main system, go with that one. If PC or Steam is your main system of choice when it comes to gaming, go with that. Whichever one works best for you. For me, though, it's the Switch version. But for those who are fans of the brawlers or beat 'em up type of game, this is worth playing and so forth though. As for those who might be new for it though, I would say give it a try. It may not appeal to everyone, but for an old school gamer like me, it definitely appeals to me. Hopefully, if it does well enough, maybe we'll get a Streets of Rage 5 or a Streets of Rage 6. I mean, I do definitely like the main villains, Mr. Y and Mrs. Y though, and all that stuff, so I definitely would like to see more of them. And who knows, if this game does well enough, maybe it might convince Capcom to figure, hey, let's do an actual sequel to Final Fight 3. Let's do a real Final Fight 4 for once, though. Let's look and see what made Streets of Rage 4 click with people, and let's see if we could apply that for, like, a Final Fight 4, or maybe a brand new Double Dragon, like an actual brand new Double Dragon to be exact. So maybe that will happen, maybe that will not. But in the meantime, for those who want their beat 'em up or brawler fix, though, I would recommend you take a look at Streets of Rage 4. Okay, this concludes my video review of Streets of Rage 4 for the Nintendo Switch. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Streets of Rage 4? Are you glad that they brought that game back, or do you think that series should have been buried in any way? Have you played Streets of Rage 4? Do you like the whole beat 'em up or brawler genre, or have you sort of outgrown that in any way? If you are getting Streets of Rage 4, which system are you looking at? Are you looking at the Nintendo Switch like the one I have, or are you looking at, say, PS4, Xbox One, or PC via Steam? Did you like what I said in this video? Did you not like what I said? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!